we're going very niche. If we're not HubSpot, then what are we? If we lost that voice and we started going against what people know us as, which has taken years to get to,
Yeah.
right, we'd be starting over in
all that
the
social
market.
equity is just eroded
It's
for
just
no
gone.
reason.
High ticket info, which we're even kind of getting away from with the state of things right now. I think info is very quickly becoming completely commoditized.
Truthfully, sorry Cole, I pulled a lot of reps out of this room. Salesforce, it's just a bear. Like that's kind of the biggest problem. Like you need an internal engineer.
From what I'm realizing just from my experience, it's like, no, you just need to do 100 times more of what you're exactly doing right now.
Business doesn't like more, it likes better.
Well, we've been talking for like 30 minutes, so how do you guys want to intro this thing?
You just gotta cut up a bunch of clips from like us just bantering in the beginning.
Was that recorded? What happened? I'm flying out to meet this guy and his wife. I don't.
Like, what did they buy? Oh, nothing.
I couldn't actually tell you.
Yeah.
I think I bought something.
Your EOD was the transcript from an infomercial. I'm not really sure. Like,
Yeah, we actually have it all on tape.
Are we still recording or are we just, you know? So we're in Vermont. Quick intro context. It is 12 at night. 11.
Sounds about right.
Yep. Just finished dinner and I yanked these guys to do a podcast. So we're going to talk about things that are relevant right now and probably some things that aren't relevant at all. And we're going to see how this goes.
yeah, we've all been traveling for 12 hours. So
It's perfect. So Sam, what's the company name?
Yeah, company StemWave. The director of sales operation is about 30 reps, doing about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 million a month.
Okay, perfect. And then we have Nick. Nick, you can explain what you do, but I think there's going to be an interesting dynamic because you're actively running a large team. You help build and run from a growth side large teams, and then I just sales ops and CRM implementation. So we can go a ton of different directions here. But introduce yourself real quick just so we have it.
yeah, so I'm Nick Carlson. We have a growth partnership agency where we essentially specialize in installing any of the acquisition systems that a high ticket offer needs to scale. So we come in, build out all the copy, all the messaging, funnels, buy all the media, build the companies.
There we go. All right. How long have you guys been in boardroom?
2021, I think second event ever.
Yeah,
4 years?
Yeah.
Well,
20.
5 years now.
Yeah, almost 5 years.
Holy shit.
December 2021, I think.
2022, because I met you shortly after that event.
Yeah, in Cabo.
In Cabo.
I met you in Paris,
yeah,
or actually formally.
formally in
like
Paris,
officially.
yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so specifically hot topics, what are you trying to solve for right now in what you guys have going on? Because I know you're doing a lot of volume, and I actually want to use maybe what you're actually trying to solve for against what we do
Okay.
and talk towards that.
Yeah. I mean,
Actually, before we even go there, what do you guys come to events like this for?
mainly network. I would say network's the big one. Truthfully, sorry Cole, I pulled a lot of reps out of this room. Like just people that were sales managers, sales directors for other teams, ended up great relationships. I have a great relationship with Nick at this point as well. Like honestly, the network.
Yeah, 100%. That makes sense.
100% the network and the throwaway comments. Like, don't get me wrong, like the presentations are like absolutely amazing, but like I learn more from like the side conversations that I have with people and the shit that they just say on the side.
Yep. Yeah, like the little golden nuggets of just like a one piece of a conversation. You're like, wait a second. That just unlocked another door, like small keys open big doors, and then you just take and run with it.
And
Yeah,
this
I mean-
industry is so small too in the reality of things. It's so hard to get like as many really good people that we can get in like rooms like this together. And so that's
Yeah.
really it.
I mean, that's why we wanted to do this.
Makes perfect
I've wanted to
sense.
do a podcast for 2 years, and it's always been logistics of like, all right, well, are we going to set up here? Are we going to do it there? Am I going to come to you? Are we going to rent a studio? I just always go off of it, and then Jay, who's behind the camera right now, actually, I think it was Jay's idea. He was like, hey, look, I'm going to just bring everything. We're going to set up in multiple places around the resort, and we're going from here to Cabo to basically the rest of these events, and we're just going to yank people 3, 4, 5 times a day and just pull the conversations in front of a camera, quite literally.
So smart.
Yeah. But anyways, we were talking about something that I think is interesting. So you guys are built off Salesforce.
Yeah.
Do you have a ton of familiarity with Salesforce, or what's your guys' go-to?
A little bit of Salesforce, predominantly GHL, Close, HubSpot, Entreport. So that kind of anybody using any of those systems.
And who do you guys specifically work with most? Like it's going to be more similar to like what we work with, right?
Combination GHL and Close.
Okay, interesting. Okay. All right, so
Yeah, the big problem. Like
Yeah.
the elephant in the room, if you will. Yeah, Salesforce. It's just a bear. Like that's kind of the biggest problem. Like you need an internal engineer who can build it out. We tried to build it out with, consultants and, just some tech people on our team, some marketers, and it just doesn't work. Like it is way too intricate. The best part about Salesforce and the worst part about it is it does whatever you tell it to do. So if you're not good enough at code, you will mess it up.
yeah.
So it's very intricate. We need it for the back end. One of the interesting parts about our business that's different from a lot of the businesses in this room
Yeah, 100%.
is there's a actual physical product to it that we have, inventory, there's consumables to the product that we need to consistently fulfill. So we needed more back-end infrastructure than, a Close or a HubSpot would give us.
100%,
Yeah.
So that's why we built it out. We've since brought in an engineer that's made more progress in 10 days than we did on our own in 18 months.
Usually how it goes.
So
Yeah.
thank God for that. Thank God for Eric. But yeah, it's definitely been a nightmare. And
Actually, I want to pick your brain. I'm curious on I've never managed. I've done a lot with sales teams, and there's very few that I've done anything with that sell a high ticket product that also is with a service,
yeah,
right? Which I think is super interesting because there's not many. I mean, there's plenty of industries that you can do that. There's not many that you can do it how well you guys do it. Like,
And using the mechanisms that they use. Right?
well, you guys sell through mechanisms like I would sell my service, but you guys sell a product to a very specific type of individual.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting to me, and I've always thought about it. The first time we talked, you were telling me about kind of how you manage and like what you look at and all these different things, and I was like, I wonder if it's harder to manage and run a sales team around a product-led sale or a service-based, because this is more like open for interpretation. This is
Sure.
like,
Cut and dry.
it's black and white. Here's the feature stack. This is how it works. This is what it does for you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
have you ever managed a sales team that does other?
yeah. I mean, pseudo. We used to run a marketing agency as well. That was all a service,
Okay.
which is kind of like our back end product. But honestly, like the thing is, like people are people. Like they need to be managed relatively the same way. I think, like the majority of it is the same. The only difference is I think how you QC, whereas you don't necessarily get as much into the emotion as you would with like a service-based sale, especially like a B2C sale. And it's a longer sales cycle, so there's a lot more QC. And you do have to tell, like you said, about the features, about the product itself. But for the most part, the broad strokes, like 80-90% of it, I would say are very, very similar.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know. That's why I was asking. But do you work with many people do you guys do anything with product and like medical or is it?
Not really physical product. We dabbled historically, but nothing that's ever been our bread and butter. It's usually high ticket info, which we're even kind of getting away from with the state of things right now, but high ticket service and high ticket SaaS, predominantly service.
Do you think info is going to be even sellable soon?
I think info is very quickly becoming completely commoditized, and how we sell it now, like you were asking me, like what's the biggest constraint? Like that's one of the biggest things that we're trying to solve for now is really just like where the market has evolved to, how people have been burned up until this point, like the amount of trust that's no longer in the market, and like everybody's experienced one of these. So figuring out the right mechanism, the right offer for the various markets, because we have a lot of different types of people that we work with.
Yeah.
And some people be like, oh, like run a VSL, it'll work. It's like it doesn't work in every single market.
Yeah. I mean, what's in my brain right now, so we just got off a 2-day leadership, talking about product. Because we were having this big debate around, do we go broad or do we go hyper niche? because of basically like the way we see it is, we were just talking about it, like SaaS in general, there was all these products that you had to use for the last like 10, 15 years, right? There was like only a certain amount of products that were actually there you could build from long term, you know, they weren't going anywhere, you know what I mean? There was a lot of pop-ups, but they disappear quickly too. Now,
Build whatever you want.
build whatever you want.
At any time.
At any time. I mean, we can do almost anything we want with HubSpot in the confines of HubSpot, but we're still transitioning our entire fulfillment, like account management, to our own product. And we're going to get it done in 30 days. And it's going to be completely custom to every single specific thing that we want for our account management team, right? They're going to be able to log in. They're going to be able to inspect their clients' accounts, right? So they're going to be able to go in, manage their book of business. We're going to have all the reporting we want. We can set up all the milestones, all the activation points, all the things that we want. And we can do it simply by, I could clip this transcript from this call and jump into Claude Code and tell it exactly what I want with that transcript, and it would build it.
Yep.
Did you come to any concrete conclusions, like whether you're going to go broad or niche down?
We're going very niche.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you, if you don't mind me asking, why did you come to that conclusion?
So I think there's something that, did you know who I was before we met?
No.
No? Did you?
I did.
Okay. What did you know about us or me, if anything?
Basically, like, that you were a guru with the CRM. That was like,
Okay.
That's where my brain went.
Okay, so 9 times out of 10 when I get introduced to people, it's, hey, this is the HubSpot guy.
So they're going to say the
The
HubSpot
HubSpot
guy.
guy.
No, but that's like, so we've done that organically, no ads, no, you know what I mean? Like no marketing, no anything, right? So the reason we were debating broad or hyper specific is because as we're starting to market, right, we were kind of going away from that HubSpot message.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're like, oh, well, we're giving up all of these people who are coming to us and they want to work with us, but like our sale was turning into like, if they weren't already on HubSpot or already decided on transitioning, we'd have to sell them on us
And on the
And
CRM.
HubSpot.
and
And
on
transition.
HubSpot.
And
Right,
the
so-
total addressable market in that niche is so big that it doesn't necessarily really matter.
Well, so we kind of lied to ourselves. We're like, well, what if we, it's like, okay, we do a few $100,000 a month, like in new business, right? Like we're not even sniffing from like there's no chance we're even scratching what's there. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So anyways, we were in the mind space of like, if we attach to a platform, that platform gets basically like beaten by everything that's happening, right? We're saying no to a lot of business that's going to go elsewhere, right? But if we change our voice to broad and we lose our argument, because like I still transparently today believe, depending on what you sell, right, and depending how you market, HubSpot is by far the best investment and platform if you get out of it what you've been, like you have to get out of it what's there, right? Otherwise, yeah, use a GH, use something cheap, right? It's just like with any investment. Like, then this is what I tell people all the time. I'm like, if you knew you could make a lot of money putting your money here, would you put your money here? It's like, yes. Okay, if you didn't have that same conviction that you could make a lot of money, but you were just dabbling, right, and there was potential to make some money, you'd invest cheaply, right? It's the same thing with tech, right? When people, like for example, Salesforce, spend millions of dollars building it, but then when it's right,
It's
holy
great.
shit, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have, like, HubSpot is a certain level where it's like the people that are going to that have a business, they have a team, right? And they're at a point where investing in a little bit more expensive software that has the functionality, that has the ability to scale, that has all these other things, is worth it. But it only becomes worth it if you use it properly, right? So we were in this big debate back and forth, and ultimately we decided to go super hyper niche. And it's not even that niche. I mean, we're talking about we're talking about, you know, like sweet spot 2 to like 20 million, that range, on HubSpot or transitioning to HubSpot, selling via setter closer model, right? Like high ticket sale. That's what we do, right? So if we lost that voice and we started going against what people know us as, which has taken years to get to,
Yeah.
right? We'd be starting over in
All that
the
social
market.
equity is just eroded
It's
for
just
no
gone,
reason. Yeah,
right?
it makes
and
no
I think
sense.
we were just looking at like, is the grass greener over here, right? Because it's
Probably
easier to
not.
market, right?
And so, like, what was the grass for you? So, like, when you would have these sales conversations, when they would linger outside of HubSpot, was it like, oh, like maybe we could do this for them in Close, or maybe we could do this for them in GHL, or like,
I think.
where was the conversation going?
Okay, so hypothetically, right? Me and him have a crazy good conversation, right? And he's like, shit, these guys know things that maybe I don't, or, right? Because we do so much with sales ops. We do so much that's agnostic from like a strategy standpoint, right? Build it there, build it here, who cares, right?
Yep.
But then when we take money from someone, they expect us to deliver the tactical how-to, right? Not just the high-level strategy, and that's kind of our edge, right? Because there's plenty of information out there for like, do this, do that, and then figure it out by yourself, right? We've kind of built our business around like, hey, this is what you need to do. Here's everything to do it, right? Or us doing it for you, right? So the grass greener was like, well, if we have to have people on HubSpot, like we aren't able to sell to a majority of the people that we come across, which transparently is, it's not true, because the way I see what our business is going to do is we're going to get hyper niched, we're going to figure out the marketing side, and then as we expand and we have more money to bring on different fulfillment leads, different teams, different talent, right? Then we can expand into, okay, right now we're doing a lot of sales operations placement, right? A lot of companies don't have that. Right now you have to be on HubSpot for us to place you a sales ops person, because that sales ops person's coming to work because they want to work with us, and we're repositioning them into the company, and then we're taking them through the fulfillment so that we can guarantee that they're going to be really good, right? So instead of just building something for somebody, we're placing first so that we can, you know, do everything we would normally do, but then you have a key holder at the end that's like, yeah, I know every inch of this car,
Yeah,
right?
makes sense.
So when we go away from the platform, like we lose that depth of like solution,
Yeah.
right? And it becomes we're selling info again,
Yep.
right? And like,
Yeah,
so
it-
like it just kept coming back to us. And
And
like,
it's why you spend so much time, like you were just saying off camera, of like spending so much time on the product and getting the product so
Yeah.
good, because that's like, that is your bread and butter. It's what you're going to be able to scale and sell for extended periods of time, because people are always going to need it.
It's funny. So when you and your team came to that conclusion, did you like immediately feel compelled to like run back to your marketing and be like, okay, we need to switch the messaging and go? Because I've seen your ads and they've been a lot. You mentioned HubSpot, but they've been sales ops focused and rev
Yeah.
ops focused.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be hone that back in now?
yeah, 100%.
Makes sense.
I mean, there was a part of me that was getting really annoyed by being the HubSpot person. To be like, you can build my CRM. I'm like, dude,
you're like, that's not really what I do.
Sure, you know, like,
Right. Can we swear on this podcast?
yeah, I guess, like, I'll build your CRM, you know, but like, I was just having so much more fun on like the, hey guys, like, this is what we've been tracking across hundreds of accounts, and like, this is the biggest leading metric that if your sales management can get behind, like, you guys are gonna scale a lot fast. Like, so those tactics took over my brain, but it kind of dawned on me, like, without HubSpot, we're not doing any of those things. So like, it still comes back to like that, right? And it's funny, in our transcription for the VIP day that we were doing, the comment that flipped us from like broad to, it just nailed it, was like, all right, if we're not HubSpot, then what are we? And we all just sat there for like 30, 45 seconds. And like,
CRM specialist?
we're like, yeah, like,
Like, I don't know.
but then think about that, like, how many RevOps people are there? There's probably 50 on
In
the
this
other side of this
room.
room, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how many sales ops, how many of that is there?
Yeah.
Like, you need an argument against what you're, like, and that was something.
Like, against the competition, like, it's almost an advantage to be, you know, the HubSpot guy,
Sure,
you know?
yeah.
Like, leaning into it, I think, is the smartest play.
Yeah. But, you know, again, like, my ego is just like, I'm not freaking HubSpot. I'm not just HubSpot, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever it was. But yeah, so interesting. But so now we're flipping towards a lot of marketing and trying to figure that shit out. And like, actually, back when was this? When we were talking, because
Well, when we were
We got a
gonna work-
proposal from you guys, right?
Yeah, November-ish, probably. So when we were in October, yeah.
If we did that then, that was probably the most, like 3 or 4 or 5 different personalities from a marketing messaging standpoint. Mm-hmm. That was like the peak of like,
Could be anything.
We didn't know where to go.
Yeah, like it was like peak confusion. I was just like trying to constantly get help, and I just didn't know which message to deliver. You know what I mean? So it was like this big just like tornado of like trying to figure stuff out. And honestly, I think a lot of in that 2 to like 500,000 range, like for most companies, I feel like that's where shit goes wrong, is like multi-message, like we gotta expand, we gotta go broad, we gotta whatever. And it's usually, from what I'm realizing just from my experience, it's like, no, you just need to do 100 times more of what you're exactly doing right now.
Business doesn't like more, it likes better.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's the reality of it.
Nick, give us a...
What were you guys just talking about?
We were talking about niching very specific down or going broad, and the two differences between it, because we just went through that specifically.
Oh, okay.
So I was going through how we came to our conclusion and what that's led to
And
us
the
now doing.
implications of that conclusion.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, then from there, I guess, well, you could go anywhere. So expansion.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah,
Great.
Oh, thanks.
Trannies, we're a bunch of trannies.
Well, I've always said niche down to blow up, you know. Had a friend who said that one time. But I would do what I
Where's
would
he
love
at
to hear
now?
from you guys is just it sounds so nerdy. Where I love to start with anyone is just like, hey, what are your benchmark KPIs you guys are seeing across full funnel?
Actually. Dude, that's like my everyday.
Yeah.
When I shake someone's hand, hey, what are your benchmark KPIs?
Yeah, I'm like, what's your pickup rate? Let's start there.
Yeah. What industry? Oh, yeah, you're a little low, aren't you? Yeah. No. But specifically around what we were talking about, I'm curious on what you're doing with your business, because you're in more the growth operations side, correct? So, are you staying in that lane, or are you gonna go? You were saying that you're gonna productize and try and go. I mean, there's gonna be a shit ton of people that are growth operations that have not even sniffed the level of what you guys do it at. And I think most people get started there, transparently, and then they go in. They either figure that out or they go into something else, you know?
So there's a few key differentiators, right? So like we have a growth partnership, we're growth operators, but we also service completely full funnel ops and just we'll help you from the front of the funnel, everything that's going to deliver them to the actual salesperson. But what we were talking about before was us productizing is really just us creating a better cutoff, right? We realized that if you're not at a certain point, right, we don't even want to begin to entertain the conversation of working with you on a managed level because there's so many unknown unknowns of getting into that relationship that we need to actually figure out.
What favorite clients that you serve? You don't have to give names, but like who, what?
Real businesses, real services, not info for the sake of selling info to people who consume info to resell info.
So what does that end up like net? What does that end up like being? Like, what are some of the industries? Like, what are some of the?
I can tell you, like, our favorite clients' work right now are, I mean, to like put a definition around real business, right? It's like they sell something that either is delivered through some partial service, right? Or it's like it's an actual product that is, like, it's a productized service. You see what I'm saying? Like,
so done for you services specifically delivered through like the mechanism of, okay, let me just give you some examples, right?
Yeah.
So we have an offer right now. It's completely done for you Airbnb. You come in, they will find, underwrite, furnish, launch the Airbnb, hand it to you. You pretty much never even need to touch the place except just sign the contract, right? So services like that, absolutely love.
yeah.
Why do you like those more than maybe some of the others?
Because they're tangible, right? Like, it's not, when I've grown info offers, there's so much back and forth with the buyer and the type of buyer that you're selling to. I'm sure you've kind of dealt with this, right? Like, a lot of the info people that are buying at a high clip are the 0 to 1s or somewhere in that range, right? And as you want to work or move into a more advanced market, it becomes harder and harder to just sell info or done with you. And I like working with more sophisticated buyers in general. And normally the done for you services that are more hands-on, more tangible, allow me the ability to work with those people.
Yeah, and I guess my inference would also be, from a sales standpoint, it's probably pretty volatile. Or like when it's not this like tangible product, like you have salespeople that go up and down, teams that, especially when you're getting comped on performance, like peaks and valleys.
Well, and you also have like fulfillment is the biggest bottleneck that I run into with a lot of those companies, is just that like they promise a huge game. How many of you guys know somebody, even in this room on the other side of this curtain, that have like crazy guarantees, right? That are literally just like,
we're not poking holes at guarantees.
No,
okay?
I'm not poking holes at guarantees, but. So that's the point that I'm making, is like on info products, they have these insane guarantees, but then the fulfillment has to try to live up to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And fulfillment is consistently a revolving door of new people, and it becomes really, really difficult to scale.
Yeah.
So to answer your question before, like where are we doubling down? Am I going to stay with growth partnership, right? Staying with growth partnership, having a better cutoff on the people that we're just doing productized service with, and then honestly doing more publishing. Like when we find... One of the biggest things that I've realized over the last couple of years of doing this, I was talking with you about this a couple months ago, is timing of the market and the offer and the demand for that offer is pivotal in whether or not that offer is going to like actually hockey stick up to the right. Like most of the people in this room are chasing that dragon still, right? And when you find those, being able to actually have the infrastructure like we do to easily set them up, back them, and push them at the right time, we're going to continue to do what we're doing on a growth operating side, but then selectively pull offers when they make sense.
Yeah, actually that's really interesting, because for what we do, we've never been chasing the dragon of like explosion, right? But I see so many offers because we work with so many people where I'm going to give an actual specific example. Like when crypto was going on that run, there was all these different crypto specific programs, algorithms, funds, like they were everywhere. But the ones that hit it just slightly before that happened, I mean, those people, they're set forever. Yeah, like
forever.
So what do you think? Actually, this is a really interesting question. What do you think is next? Because we have AI right now that's just going absolutely parabolic. Everyone's still figuring out, like, I don't know about you guys, but like there's something new that I'm just like fucking with every single day.
Yeah, it's actually
every
crazy.
Day. Like I literally wake up and I'm like, what cool thing am I gonna
what can I mess
today?
with today that'll like blow my mind?
So it's like that. I mean, that's the start of like this new transition. SaaS is gonna get
demolished,
destroyed, because there's anything that is clonable, like super easily, it's gone, right? Because it's like, well, I can just prompt it and build it myself and like not deal with your shit, you know what I mean? Like, so SaaS is gonna, the bottom 50%, like there's gonna be people that are established players, right? That's like, look, there's so much infrastructure here, no one's gonna bother trying to build it, right? Because there's actually very large integrations, they have different things that you can't just get, right? So like those platforms are gonna stay, right? But this bottom 50% is gonna go away. Info's dying because of AI, right? So it becomes down to like specific frameworks and specific things that you can put around the AI that allow to make it more valuable than rather just gathering information, right? Because it's all about the implementation now of the information that you can get, because information's so fucking easy to grab now.
Correct.
Right?
So where I'm at with this,
I have a theory, that's why I'm asking. But
I'm interested to hear.
And this is where I've been. I've been working on this for the last 6 months, because I genuinely think, and so I've had an agency. I started the agency in 2018. Like, I'd be a fool to think that in the next couple of years, my agency is going to look like it does now with everything that is happening. Right?
Yeah.
So I've been super bullish on trying to figure out this next step, and I think that is going to be the implementation of agentic infrastructure around workflows for specific problems within companies,
Yeah.
right?
What's a specific like?
I mean,
wanna-
I'll give you some examples on our side, like from an automation and AI standpoint. Like everything that a salesperson has to do, like all of the nitty gritty BS work that salespeople hate, is just going to be done by a bot, and they're going to spend all their time on revenue generating activities.
And the bot is even going to tell them, like, okay, we've been working on this platform. Like I have this vision that again, that the agency is going to be way different, and that the people that you have on your team, like your head of marketing, your head of sales, your head of finance, can all log into this platform, and they can log into their own departments, and the majority of their day-to-day operations are actually run by bots or agents, and then they also have a suite of tools that they can use to execute the things that they're doing, right? And so for example, we've built something now where all of our sales teams hook up all their call recordings directly to our system. Every call recording is then sent to the system. It's graded. It sends that grade back to the salesperson and back to the manager. It provides the EOD at the end of the day for the manager, but then it's databased and vectorized. So for example, if the salesperson's having a bad week that day, or I'm sorry, bad week, the sales manager can literally go in and just ask the system, hey, so-and-so, John's having a really rough week. Can you analyze every call that's come through for any trends that might be predicting this downward spiral, right? And what are they and what should he work on?
Yeah, it literally cuts QC to a fraction of it, but it will also like give you the red flags of like getting all that info back. It's probably going to be John on that bad week was really terrible at objection handling, but he actually crushed his discovery. So like as a manager, you don't have to go in and fix his discovery or even listen to it. You literally just go to his objection handles, QC it, give him the feedback he needs.
Yeah, I mean.
And that's a very sales specific example. I can give you
Yeah,
examples
no,
outside of that.
I like that because if you think back, okay, so when I was running sales teams, right? It's like early Aaron was give me a sales team, I'm gonna roll a bunch of heads, re-recruit, retrain, and I was just, the only reason I was good was because I had so much energy to do all the stuff that everybody else didn't do. Like wake up early and listen to all the calls that were held yesterday and like go get the deals that should have been closed, right? I would go into the CRM and I would look at what's happening this week on like a smaller time frame, and then I'd look at it larger. So like I was doing all these things that used to have to be trained. Now, if you have the right infrastructure, if you have a system that can contain all this data, that's why I'm such a big component on HubSpot, is because eventually all of your interactions, if they're not under one roof, AI will get slower and lesser and lesser and lesser because it's not under one thing. So that's why I'm bullish on Salesforce, I'm bullish on HubSpot. That's why I'm not bullish on a lot of these fragmented platforms. Because guess what? The more you build there, the slower you're gonna be, right? And the faster and the better things that you can do, like just because I'm on HubSpot, I'll give you a specific example, right? My account managers engage with people in Slack, they engage with people on Zoom, they do email, they do all these different things. Guess where all of that lives? It's it's literally under one spot. So what we did is we built a client journey, basically agent, that tracks from onboarding. So from the sales rep, sales calls, to the activation, to everything that they say they wanted in the sales call and the onboarding on every single one of the calls with our account manager. And it builds literally a like literally everything that's happened in our engagement. And guess what we're gonna be doing with that at the end of the 6 months? We're gonna say, hey, here's everything that we've done with you, just so you know how much we've actually covered with you.
Yep.
Because the biggest thing is like showing what you've actually done, because once you get past a certain point, it's like, I don't even remember what we've been working on. It's like, dude, we've actually covered so much ground, right? So if you're not under the same roof, think of how hard that would
Yeah, it would be impossible. It'd be
it took us 2 hours to build, right? So anyways, I'm saying this because I think everyone has data, right? Most people don't know how to use their data. And a lot of people don't have contextual data.
Yeah.
Meaning like, oh, these are my account management calls with my account manager. This is like a support call, right? This is this, this is this. People just say, I have call recordings. It's like, well, where do they live? How are they set up? How do you, that's what matters moving forward, because that's gonna allow you to move so fucking fast. If you have a bad account manager and you can quickly just It's almost like you have an everything eye, a God's eye over all of your data, right? Which has never been, it's been possible, but for a lot of money and a lot of work, right?
And nearly almost never accurate.
Correct,
Yeah.
right? Dude, now, I mean, we're even setting up agents to run data and like deduplication and first name, last name splits and like anything that you can think of that constitutes bad data, you can fix with AI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
I'm curious to pick both of your brains. Like for anybody listening that maybe isn't as in tune with AI, where would you start? What would be the things that you need, the baseline infrastructure that you feel like is crucial to run your business?
I mean, who are we talking to?
Yeah,
Are we
as an
talking to
operator or like an integrator.
Either.
resetting back to that specific thing that we were talking about. All right, so if you're on the very early side of AI and you're running a small business, I would literally go, I wouldn't start with Chat GPT. I would go to like Claude or Gem. I would go to more of like the like specific, because like I think a lot of people try and go into Chat GPT and they miss out on a lot of the other stuff that these things can do, and it slows down the learning. So like if you were gonna ask me, I would say start with Claude. I would get the desktop. I would watch literally 3 YouTubes. I would watch Claude Cowork, Claude Code, and then just regular Claude, like specifically. And then I would literally go into, also just a hack, because if you start with this, you're gonna be so much faster. Download Whisper. It's a push to talk. Anyways, you'll thank me later. But I would literally go in and say, I do X, Y, and Z. I'm brand new with AI. Give me prompts so I can give you all of my context and then tell me how you would use me. And just go down the fucking rabbit hole. That's literally, if you start with that, you're gonna save yourself 3 to 6 months of fucking around.
And then for specifics, because of context, would you then open up each one of those things in like a different instance or like a different thread, so that you're not going so deep down the rabbit hole in one? Again, this is for beginners, so like
I would let them go down the rabbit hole, because I think like, all right, so early stage business, let's just keep it there, right? Like the more that they start asking the questions that they've never been able to get quick answers to, it's gonna open their brain to like, wow, I can get information quickly, and they're gonna get to this point where it's info overload. There's gonna have so many of these docs that they have great ideas around, and they're gonna have all these different things, right? And then they're gonna lead into like, okay, project specific chats, right? Where they can upload these docs and they can carry further content. You see what I'm saying? So like, I think just let your brain go. My grandpa, this is actually super interesting. My grandpa uses it to interpret his dreams. He's 84, okay? But every dream he has, he runs it through.
Maybe the best use case I've ever heard of.
He runs it through Gemini and these different platforms, and he was talking to me. He was like, well, so, and this is going to go like way farther than what we were talking about, but like he's like, so, you know, the stars, the, you know, all of the history, like, you know, freaking the moon, the planets, all these things, right? All of that context sits in AI. So if you have a wild dream, instead of like asking like a, you know, person who like can interpret like just from like the planetary side of things or whatever, right? Whatever you believe in or however you see shit, it has all of these things, right? Geography, like it's insane. So he can interpret all his dreams and he's saving them.
Dude, do you hook him up with Whisper Flow too?
Just jamming with it all day? Yeah, dude. So anyways, I think it's
Neuralink is his next
Yeah.
I think
That's what I need.
I think early on, like, I think most people watching this, just from people that would, I mean, watch this, like, they're going to have some context, right? I think the first cool thing that you can do is if you have data, like reports, like even if you have a spreadsheet, if you have, like, even pull up your Hyros dashboard, pull up anything that you look at consistently and screenshot it and start asking questions against it and let it lead you down different rabbit holes that you wouldn't normally analyze certain data points. And it'll start to tell you to do cool things. So like the hook rate stuff, bro, that came from AI. Yeah, because we were looking at connection rate, and we were looking at dials, and we had a client who had a huge discrepancy between input and output, right? So like, I'm talking like 40 reps that are dialing, right? And a lot of them had the same amount of sets, right? Like same end KPI, which was what their sales manager was managing on.
Different combo offer rate.
But the freaking like dials were like, this person's doing 10,000, this person's doing 2,000, this person's doing 500 conversations, this one's doing 50. And the sets were like within range of like almost always. So we gathered this data and we started feeding it the calls. And it basically told us like, hey, this opener is working really well. And we're like, holy shit.
Let's do that always. Yeah.
That's the lead in,
That's like
right?
the most simple, brilliant thing you told me in the last 2 months for sure. And I focus on it.
Yeah, it makes
We
perfect
started
sense.
doing that in all of our onboardings. Is now like, whenever we onboard a new client from a marketing perspective, I have their sales team send me, each sales rep sends me like 10 of their calls, and we transcribe everything, and I look for what are the overlapping trends, like regardless of the actual sales rep, what are the words that they're using, and all of that is now baked into what we produce for messaging.
So yeah, I do that same thing. And like with our product, it's like, honestly, because it's a physical product, it is in the like anatomy space. Like you need to understand the anatomy of people. There's a huge lexicon there. Take all of that info, all of those videos, put them all into AI, and then break it down with the sales calls, and it's dialed in.
Yeah. I would, I mean, dude, we could go for hours on this, and I don't think we need to or nor have the energy for right now. But
We'll have to run it back.
We're
and
up
do
till
another
3 in the morning. Like
we need to get Nick in here with a mic at some point.
Can we do a like a big panel at some
Yeah,
point?
let's do
We
it
should.
all.
Welcome.
Thank you, man.
We just had Nick spawn in. Give him context, just so we can get straight back into the jam.
Yeah, you guys might have heard my voice up to this point. I'm Nick Fisher. I'm also a growth operator, publisher. I have 10 plus brands, a big one being Sub2. Pace more of you people know me for.
How much revenue have you done online in the last 5-10 years? I just say this because some people are going to be like, what?
Somewhere over 500 million.
Yeah.
Safely.
So he just fell from the ceiling and now he's here. So, all right. You've probably been holding back so many thoughts. So I just want to like, yeah, like
floor's yours.
Should have kept the robe on, dude.
Dude, well, yeah, I should have. I had the robe on earlier. Maybe we can edit that in later. But dude, first off, good crew. Just good seeing all of you guys again and catching up. Let's keep with hook rates because we were right there. And the first thought I had is hook rates.
Let's formally explain what hook rate is.
Cool.
So
Good call.
for anybody that's running like an outbound team that's doing a lot of outbound dials, right? The first 15 seconds of that call, once it connects, is going to be the opener by definition, right? And the opener is one of the best ways it's going to dictate whether or not somebody stays on for the rest of the conversation to hear what you have to say or not. And it's one of the best training components that if you're managing a setting team, you can focus on. Because I was actually talking to Matt Ryder earlier, he's like, hook rate 100% from like a leading in, but you have to look at tonality. Because someone could say the exact same thing,
But if they say it differently,
but if they say it differently, it
doesn't
doesn't matter, right?
Ooh.
But hook rate is basically how many conversations that are over 15 seconds make it past the 2-minute mark, right? And you take that percentage. So if I have, 5 conversations out of 10 that are all over 15 seconds, but only 5 make it past 2 minutes, I have a 50% hook rate, right? And when you're tracking this individually across all your setters, if somebody has 10,000 dials, but somebody has 2,000 dials, and they have the same output, usually the 10,000 dial person is opening improperly, bad tonality, but it's usually in the first 15 seconds that if you spend time with them there, you can actually fix a lot of the throughput. And the way we look at it is like each SDR is almost as if it's a funnel that you're putting your leads through. So anyways, contextually, hook rate.
Yes, That was great and brilliant. And from my perspective too, is I had never thought to even attempt to isolate that for sales reps. Like I know that it's what they say in tonality in the first few minutes, but it's just like normally we coach on it. Just don't be weird, man. Just like don't.
Why you opening
they're
like that,
hanging
dude?
up on you.
You said good morning. It's 8 p.m.
Yeah, right. So like to actually isolate and treat it like in marketing meetings, when I used to run marketing teams, marketers are so hook oriented where you're like, we call it thumb stop. If you're a media buyer, it's like, what are you saying in the first 3 seconds, first second, first whatever. And I used to have people write through 1,000 like headlines that work, just formulas, just to get them in the mood to where they can write copy. And whether it's body copy or that first line of a video that you're scripting for anyone, you want them to have a hook where it's like, what's one simple trick that you can do? I sat down at the piano and they laughed or they cried or whatever it is. And you just have them write through those. And I've never thought to do that with sales teams at all. So none of them know what they, like the first line that each other says.
Do they do different things?
For sure. Well, as soon as Aaron said that, I queried
You were
my
like,
AI,
oh
and
no.
I was like, oh no, they have, I was like, we have a script, but as far as like the opener, it's just like, it's like,
Hey man, how are you?
Do you remember me?
I think going back to like, I think we were talking about at the very beginning, like what AI is like can lead you to. Like, okay, even if I found that statistic, right? Okay, I'm not gonna go look at our script and listen to hundreds of calls. And even if I listen to those hundreds of calls, right, and I find deviations, am I gonna go and update the script to then roll it out to the team and say this works better?
You're gonna wind up like that.
And then track and manage them after the fact to see if it actually works?
Yeah.
No.
6 weeks later, you might have a good solution.
Well, so
Straight jack.
this is actually what I'm talking about on Saturday is like, even though you get great data, you have to put a rhythm behind the data so that, for example, if I gave you hook rate, the report, right? And I'm not saying you in specific, I'm just saying sales managers in general, right?
You're better than most.
Right? Well, they would get super excited about it and they'd look at it really intently for like 10 days.
Yeah.
Right? And then it would go to the wayside, and then say 60 days later, you or I or a consultant comes in and says, hey, well, I set this up, you haven't done anything with it. And they're like, oh shit, yeah, I completely forgot about it. So whenever we're looking at data like that, we put a cadence behind it that operations and aka sales manager, whoever, on the calendar sit down to look at that metric. So what that allows us to do is it gives us every 2 weeks to look at the benchmark and see if there's deviations up or down. So that it's set in the cadence, right? So sales ops, when I define sales ops, all it is a set rhythm around specific metrics that we're looking at and consistently maintaining.
Yeah, that's exactly how I
That's as
operate
simple
my
as a tangible sales ops thing is, because people blow it out of proportion.
Correct.
That's what it is, right? And you're running initiatives and tests against stuff that you consistently look at in a consistent rhythm so that you can actually get the benefit of tracking hook rate, right? Yeah. And the reason I bring this up is because maybe someone's watching this and like, we gotta track it. It's like, yes, you need to track it, but the only way that tracking it is gonna be a benefit to you is if you're going back to a script on a, call it semi-weekly or semi-monthly basis to try and have a deviation win up.
Yeah.
Right? And then when you do that, you then have to flip it out from the script and you have to roll it out to the reps, right? So like the person becomes doing this. So when we're talking about AI, there's gonna be so much data available for you. The manager's job is gonna be to basically manage a rhythm of consuming and taking action on a consistent basis. It's not gonna be about how much you can do with it. It's gonna be setting up all of these basically like lines in the water and then going to the rod every couple weeks and like running this rhythm.
I think the problem for a lot of like implementers and sales ops specifically is going to be not having paralysis by analysis.
Or
like they're
ideation frenzy. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Because they're going to have access to so much data that it's like, what do you do with like this in front of you?
AI-induced psychosis is a real thing for
Dude,
people.
100%.
Like, sometimes it's just like,
He's like, trust me, man.
Well,
4 in the morning.
well, and that's why I'm like, I got to come up with a better name for it. But like the whole thing about like rhythm around the data you pull out is like gonna be so important because you can go rhythm. So much pull out rhythm. Look, you don't want to, you know.
And that's your cold open.
Do you have a pull out rhythm?
What's your internal POR look like? I don't understand.
Then we're going to work with Ryder. He'd be like, hey, Aaron, do you have a pull-out rhythm?
Every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks. Interesting. But, I mean, yeah, without going too far down that, like, as it pertains to hook rate, right? Even if you're looking at the data, you have to go back to the script and you have to update it and you have to roll that back to the sales team. So that becomes the job once you have it set up, right?
Can I ask you a question around that for anybody watching?
Yeah.
Like, when you're doing this, do you have a line in the sand that you draw for a statistically relevant amount of data for you to actually make a deviation to any metric that you're looking at?
Yeah, that's part of the rhythm cadence. So like some data points, right, wouldn't be relevant. Let me give you an example. So we do every 2 weeks, right? We set up a agent that looks at front end sales calls, outbound, right? And back end sales calls, closing calls, right? With prospects. And it's looking for problem statements. I have tried this. I didn't get this. I want this. Like these things, right? As well as how reps are handling those problem statements or all these different things. And what it's doing is it's creating hooks and ads and stuff, and it's being shipped back to marketing, right? That every day is bonkers, right? But that over a 2-week period can be basically broken down into like categories, like, hey, 25% of people are doing this, 15% of people are saying this, right? And like that becomes a lot more consumable. So I think the cadence on like when you're actually making decisions off of it is when it becomes consumable. And I want that to be like clear, like you could consume it every day, but it doesn't make sense to do so, right?
Rewind and run that back a few times.
So, but on an even simpler standpoint, like, are you gonna look at close rate daily? No. Probably not, right? Because it's not relevant in the day. Are you gonna look at it weekly? Probably. But on a 30-day mark, you can make decisions from it, right? So like, there's gonna be data that's like speed to lead, right? That's a daily thing. That's a daily thing, right? Because it's such, like, you don't want to look at that 30 days later and be like, oh my God, right?
Why weren't we calling the leads?
Seems like a gap.
But then when you're looking at like ad attribution, right? You're looking at ads and attributing it to like deals closed. Like you don't want to look at that in a daily setting.
No.
You know what I mean?
I turned people's ad accounts off. They started doing that.
So it's.
I'm sure they love that.
Yeah.
And to tell you my hypothesis of where things are going with the AI and just where businesses are going to go, like I feel like there's going to be this big tech debt that everyone's going to build up, right? Of I have so many fucking things and so many tools that like the rewiring of infrastructure is going to become the most important like service in the marketplace, right? Because so many people are going to go in so many different directions so fast. And then shit's just gonna start not working, right? So like as a agency or a marketing partner or any of these things, you're gonna have to become super good at rewiring everything together so it becomes contextually relevant again. And then you're gonna have to basically help companies maintain discipline on like making decisions in a consistent like rhythm. Like it's like you're gonna become somebody that holds them to not overconsumption, you know? Like
we make that decision Mondays, Charles.
Yeah.
Well,
Why are you looking at it today?
And that may be like a super generic like thing, but like
No, that's a really good take, dude.
Yeah.
Like-
I've never thought about that. Like the single source of truth will become so easy, but the rewiring of all the wires, if you have a single source of truth, doesn't matter. Like unless you can do it in a
well, you know, like
effective way. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like, what do I use today? Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, this, that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, as soon as I started going to all these different things, I was like, holy shit, this is not good. Like, I gotta centralize to one, you know?
Dude, I
Like,
went to Open Router to solve that problem, which isn't a good.
that too. But,
Which isn't a great solve though.
but I just, dude, everything's moving so fast right now.
It is.
Like, there's gonna be this point where everyone wakes up and looks at their business and goes,
What?
whoa. Like, what do you, how did you get that data? Like, what are you gonna do with it, right? Because you guys probably see this too, like, you specifically probably is like, you have somebody that's so good at driving people and process and coaching, and they get sucked into becoming systems and tech people.
Oh, nope. I don't. That's where I cut the cord. I'm like,
100%.
you can't do that.
It's like, dude, so I don't know. I mean, I eventually see like the org chart as like, you're gonna have these people that basically separate everybody from systems, right? Like they're just there to consume and float up, so decisions can be made. So these people never get sucked down, and I think that's going to become like a normal org chart feature, and that's why we're getting into like the placement of sales ops, because so many leadership teams are just all hands in the cookie jar consumption that it becomes irrelevant on what they're getting back because everybody's going in different directions. But if you have a single like filter all the way through to the top, and it's on a cadence and it's a rhythm, right?
The more you talk about
AI
that,
becomes so powerful, dude.
the more you talk about like the cadence of it, the more I like start to think of like, wow, that's actually a good point. Like I have a relative one, but it's not super concrete. And I'm like, wow, I would actually probably make significantly better decisions if I had a concrete cadence like that. Like, it just makes perfect sense.
It's the hardest thing to do. Like, so my presentation, you're going to see, it's so elementary, but like one of the points I'm going to make is like, when's the last time you've sat down with your ops person and told them what you need Monday before you're like in with your teams? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Right? How many things do you wake up and have to do consistently every Wednesday that like ops could take and do so much better of a job of consuming all the stuff and giving to you what you need so that
So
you can make
necessary.
decisions faster, right?
So how do you do standard workflow design? Is there like a way that I could reel it in? Because our org suffers from exactly the complexity problem that you just described.
Okay. He's over there laughing. He's like, damn it. He's like, please help.
No, I mean, explain workflow like.
So just even what you just described to me, that's workflow. I want this at this time on
So,
this day. Yeah.
What we do currently, like I'll just give you like what we've kind of like simplified it down to is like Monday is system integrity day, and it's target analysis. So like before sales director gets to sales stand up, right? They have a report that shows them where they are at against the quarter and the month and against what they did last week, so they know what their targets need to be. All of these things are in his hands before he goes into the meeting, so he can set clear targets with the team and maintain pace towards target, right?
He's not asking the team for that.
After ops person gets those people ready, so it could be marketing, could be sales, they're going into data integrity. So they're cleaning up dedupes, they're cleaning up attribution, they're making the system clean, right? Tuesday, marketing analysis, right? Wednesday, individual sales team. Like, so you prioritize specific days for operations to do what they need to do and consume that, so it's not spread throughout the week. Because if you have a really good ops person, like for me or for you, right, your brain gets fixed on shit, right? And if you do 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different things in a day, you're spread at the end of the day of a bunch of ideas. But if you just pick a topic for Monday, right? Like Monday, I'm just doing this. Tuesday, I'm just doing this. Wednesday, I'm just doing this. That's how you want your ops person to operate. At least the ops person that I'm specifically alluding to. I'm not talking to COO.
Yeah.
I'm not talking like, high level leadership.
Sales
I'm talking
ops.
about
Like an actual
sales ops, right?
Yeah.
So that daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly cadence on how you engage back with that person is by far the most important thing. And then that person's job becomes not about ideation. It becomes about maintaining things that have already been built on a specific cadence. And making sure, like, I think the hardest thing right now is like, once you build something good, like keeping it good.
Dude, it's the hardest.
Like that is the hardest thing to do. And like that's sales ops job is to do that, right? So you just have to, like, it's checklists, you know what I mean? Like
Cool.
It's like, I need this Monday, I need this Tuesday, I need this Wednesday.
Cool.
Jim, marketing, needs this every 2 weeks on this day, right? We have an end of month all hands and we need a full analysis of where we're at against all of our targets for this quarter, right? At the end of the month, I want every single end of the month for sales to have a hypothesis of what you would implement that's going to give us a lift, right? So they're not doing tons of initiatives, they're doing one a month, right? And you can do per department if you have somebody that's really good, but typically we just get companies to simplify down to one initiative a month that they're going to run to try and impact a specific metric, and that comes back to the whole baseline methodology approach that we like to do. But it's like, again, how do we get them to stop running in 50 directions? Because if they just closed 49 doors and did one door, that one door would give them the results that all 50 that they're going to try and do could potentially give them, you know? So it's like, and that's a really long answer for just like,
It's a great answer.
set them on a Monday is this, right? Tuesday is this. So like when they get to Wednesday and it's marketing focused, they can go super deep, right? without feeling like they need to be doing sales stuff and this and that and all these things, right? So priority to-dos based on specific topics for the day. And then above the priority to-dos, they have specific like everyday checklists that they have to do. Mm-hmm. And then behind that, you have a ticketing queue for them, right?
Okay.
So like the priority matrix is like priority to-dos, everyday tasks. So like everyday tasks would be like simple shit that you want them to check every single day or to update every day, whatever it is. And then you have your ticket queue, which will be the next 4 or 5 hours of the day. So anything that leadership submits, right, they need to work on, right? Perfect. And that's the simplest way to get control over operations again.
Sweet. That was a really great answer. And this might sound like a dumb question, but I think it's probably for a lot of leaders. It's like, how do you evaluate your sales ops that they're actually doing that? How do you QA QC your sales ops? A lot of leaders, particularly myself, are bad at QA QC in their own sales ops.
So many sales ops people are super capable, but they get trained by leadership to be point and shoot.
Yeah.
Right? So like you could have the most capable person, but they're severely underleveraged because they don't have any prioritization, right? They become a glorified assistant no matter how good they are. Because all of leadership is doing is just giving them more to-dos.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
More ad hoc. Don't
Yeah,
do
it's like-
already standard workflow. Just
Do this thing.
Like if you ask yourself this question right now, what does my sales ops guy do every Monday? And you can't answer that, right?
It's bad leadership.
I mean, seriously.
They're like, damn it.
But it's it's on leadership, right?
Yeah.
Like you should be able to know this is what they do Monday through Friday. This is what they do to end our month. This is what they do to prep us for next quarter, right? These are the things that this person needs to get done for me to know they're doing their job well. And then everything else on top of that, all the tickets that come, all the ideas, all the late night, whatever, as long as they're doing those things, like if you woke up on Monday and you knew that all sales, all marketing, all these things, all these reports were closed out, delivered, and like the trends and the tracking towards targets was set, and everybody knew, right? You'd be super happy with sales ops.
I would.
Right. But that's such a simple thing to just solidify, you know what I mean? So it's, and this
Just
is,
giving them more priority and direction.
yes, and it's, I think a big chronic thing with like sales ops people is like, okay, let me just tell you what I've seen with domestic hires and then what I've seen with overseas hires. Cool. When I say overseas, I think like LATAM, South Africa, Eastern Europe, right?
Okay.
If you give those people a checklist, like I need this done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they'll go in every week and they'll knock that checklist out without thinking about ideas and going elsewhere. When you hire domestic, for whatever reason, they feel like they're only valuable if they're coming up with crazy ideas and constantly bringing new things in. So they get bored of consistency. And really what you need out of sales ops is consistency, right? So
You're right.
it's like a weird dynamic of like,
I think it's cultural.
Some of
too.
our Filipino workers are the best workers that we have.
100%.
Like
well, you never have to ask yourself if they're going to get that thing done.
correct.
Right.
Yeah, like all of our sales ops, CS ops, marketing ops is all out of the Philippines and is the best decision we ever made.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, that's why I'm having fun with the sales ops stuff, like the placement, because we get to, if we're not taking somebody and inheriting them and like kind of rewiring them towards that process, we get to place somebody and we get to basically tell this person like, this is how you become super valuable, right? And they don't like the constant bombardment of random tasks. Like if you ask them, you know, like they probably don't like that very much, you know? But when you train them on the idea of like consistency is the value that you bring, right? And the consumption and then the float up of the analysis is like where you become just the rock star for everybody. Like they can see their value very easily. And it's like, just like a setter getting sets, they get dopamine,
Taking
right?
dopamine off consistency.
100%.
Yep.
But like seriously.
Do you bonus them off consistency?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
crazy.
So
That's
their comp,
super cool.
Their comp is basically, so again, the whole one initiative a month, right? Their checklist, right? We pay them base salary for doing the Monday through Friday, the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly checklist, right? Like this is your job. Where they make upside is off the performance of the initiatives that they run. So each month when they come up with their hypothesis that they float to sales leadership or to CEO or whatever, right? Hey, I want to implement speed of lead and I want to do it this way because this isn't working too well. So I want to prioritize lead delegation like this because I think it can give us a 2 or 3% lift, right? And you say, cool, how would you do it? And they say, this is how I do it. Great, implement, right? You know your baseline. So if they lift up and they have a successful hit on that initiative, right? You bonus off that, right? So
smart.
So it's like you only have 3 initiatives you're running each quarter, right? Just crush those, right? And then do consistency, right? Like consistency in your initiative, like that's your job, right? Like, yeah, I think, you know, I mean, dude, you can, like, someone who's 4 or 5 grand, you know, from overseas, that's really good comp for them, and then you give them $1,000, like, hey, hit your initiative. You want to go from a 5% connection rate to 8, or you want to go from a 2-hour speed of lead down to an hour or sub, right? Hit that metric. I'm going to pay you an extra $1,000 this month, right? They got to get it implemented very fast, and they got to roll it out properly to the team, right? And then they're going to track it for you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
And then the good ones are probably proactive with voicing concerns that they see to sales leadership.
Yep.
Flagging.
yeah. Well, and then that becomes like the next thing that we would do is like once you set the initiative, they have X amount of days to implement, and then there's a midway point where they review basically their trend with their initiative. Hey, we're on track to smash it. Hey, we're off track. Here's why, right? But you never change initiatives halfway through the month. If it's not working, it's not working, and you're going to figure out why it's not working at the end of the month, right?
Cool. I can commit to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that. We set monthly goals and we don't adjust budgeted targets. So that would work well in our operating system too. It's just when you don't have that commitment to what you said, the checklist system too, then you're prone to shiny object syndrome initiative.
Yep. Yep. So,
Thank you. That was super helpful.
yeah.
Joel and Chad, if you guys are listening to this, I'm going to send this to you.
I don't know. Maybe you're welcome. Maybe I'm sorry. I don't know.
They both are like, would love someone like this in the work, I'm sure.
But anyways, this is super cool.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm excited to do more of these.
me too.
Yeah. Well, with that being said,
All
number
right.
1 done.
Let's do it.
So-
Cool. Sick. Boom.